Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the bootcamp. I hope you have finished and enjoying your coffee, because be prepared to take notes of the next presentation. And I welcome to the floor the lead of Riga Power BI meeting group, Aldis Erglis. And Aldis Erglis will talk about what you are missing if you're just sticking with Excel and you're not using the whole possibilities that Power BI provides. Aldi, the floor is yours again.
Thank you. So what I actually prepared, not so much telling of what's better, Power BI or Excel, but just to give you overview of how to understand the difference and actually when to use what. And if we look at the first, we need to understand the Microsoft BI landscape. And if we look at what's available, we see the interactive reporting. So remember this word. Interactive means that if you click on some chart, then other charts will change, and there's an interactive filtering available and stuff like that. And that is Power BI, and mainly the Power BI desktop that you will use mostly. Then we have the spreadsheets. And that is a tabular view we usually see in Excel, and it's for reasons separated, and it's not will be fully integrated into Power BI over years. It will be coexist with Power BI, because for preparing data, for maybe do some filtering, or if you want to just prepare the large tables, you can do it only in Excel. Even if you have tables and advanced pivot tables in Power BI, Excel do tables better. Then you have a PageNet report that are coming into the Power BI a lot, and previously available just in a SQL Server, and it's PageNet reports, and mainly reports that are created for printing out. That you create the purpose of this report, that you will print them out on a PDF or online or paper. And the fourth part is of the Microsoft BI landscape is the mobile reports, and that is what you have in Power BI, and with a mobile application for Power BI. And there are a lot of different scenarios can be handled by mobile, and also during this contest you will prepare these mobile reports. So just to understand this landscape, if it well, 4 applications you must know and use. I could say even more. It's not just Power BI or Excel. It's Excel. If I'm usually talking about 2016 version Pro Plus. Special version for Excel. All the Excels are not the same, and it's a Power BI for Office 365, but when it's integrated with other Office 365 services, for example, to use Power BI in Teams as a separate tab, or to use Power BI embedded in some applications, so it brings additional capabilities. And it's Power BI service or Power BI desktop that we are using usually. And of course, there is also machine learning on Azure. And just to give you some overview, I just put these slides just before this session by showing a little bit for those who are just starting with Power BI, how to understand it. First, how we publish it. There is a Power BI report server, there is a Power BI in the cloud, and can use different tools. Power BI Desktop is a main tool where we create reports, so we'll work with that and look at that. But also you could use an Excel to create these reports. Then you could add link different data sources, on-premise and cloud data sources. As you know, there are many connectors. The out-of-the-box connectors you could use to link to connect to different data like Salesforce or Google Analytics and so on. And you could publish it in 3 ways. Mainly it's a web on the service, or your case, you mainly will work with Power BI Desktop, which is fine. Mobile, you are creating mobile version of your report and creating a mobile application. And there is a embedded Power BI embedded. It means that you could embed these charts, elements of the report, or whole report or dashboard. You could embed them in the custom-made application or third-party application, like even in a simple application, a SharePoint or Microsoft Dynamics, or it could be even your own application. And why the Power BI is great? just to explain. Of course, it's easy to easy to connect different data sources, easy to visualize. And remember, from this Microsoft BI landscape, it's an interactive analysis. It's a tool for interactive analysis. And the main feature that differs it a lot from Excel, that you could create it, you're still creating on your desktop, probably mostly on your desktop application, Power BI desktop, but you can publish and share it. So with Excel, it's much harder to share something. Usually you need to share the file itself, but with the Power BI, it's easy. It's a special portal capabilities that you could share them, provide security, and many more. And of course, a lot of visualization. And there's a different types of visualization we could use. But let's look at the Excel, because probably those who work with Excel but don't maybe understand that this connection between Excel and Power BI, and as I said, they are coexist together. So most probably you will extensively use both tools even during this bootcamp. And if you look at Excel, it's known well for getting data, for analyzing data, visualizing data, and there is some functions that help us to publish and consume data, but mainly we are using Power BI for publishing and the consumption of the data. If I ask you that how advanced do you use some advanced data analytics functions in Excel? Probably you will say yes, but I like this picture. So these are truly data analytics capabilities for Excel. There is a remark, you see that this is a Pro Plus version. And in Pro Plus version, that is usual for corporate, that you have this Excel when you could create the pivot tables or pivot charts, add different information. But did you know that in Excel, there is multi-layer 3D map, that you could create the 3D multi-layer 3D interactive 3D maps and also save them as a video file. So this is you could create the 3D video map in Excel. Or there is an Azure machine learning add-in for Excel. So you could build a machine learning model with this low-code machine learning functionality available in Azure Machine Learning Studio and publish it as a web server and actually call it or link it to Excel and do machine learning in Excel. Probably this is something new for you, but what is actually very linked to Power BI, it's a Power Pivot and Power Query. Power Query is a way how we link, extract, transform, and load data. And that is abbreviation for ETL, probably you will see. And actually, if you look at the newest version of Excel for the Power Query, you will see that it is the same as a Power BI. You even could copy it to Power BI. And if we talk about Power Pivot, it allows you to create a relational model, do data modeling. It means to create tables, to create calculated fields, and to create a calculated measures. So as we see, the Excel is also separate data analytics tools that could help us to prepare data maybe for Power BI. And let's look at some short demo. And I will start with this Excel file, and then we'll show also some basic Power BI capabilities just to help those who are maybe first time. But for this Excel presentation, if we look at this file, you see it seems empty. It seems empty, but the size of this file is actually 90 megabytes. Where are our files? And if actually our files are in the structure that called Power Pivot, it's a special engine that is built into Excel that is separately like added to Excel during the years, but in Power BI it's native, so it's a pre-Power BI engine. And I click to this Manage button, and when I click the Manage button, actually I can see the pre-imported data. You see that I have these tables here by products, and if you look at the most important, most tricky part here, if you click on the Sales tab, you see that there is a 3.4 million rows. In regular Excel sheet, as probably you know, you remember that you could just import 1,056,000 rows. So if you want to work with the larger data sets, it's not possible to import them into a data sheet, but you can import them in a Power Pivot. I did the largest data set I imported was with 200 million rows. So you could import 200 million rows in Excel and build the Power Pivot tables. We even could look at diagram view. So it will look like a database. So we have these tables, and you will see that we have something similar in Power Pivot, in Power BI. So, but more enhanced, more, let's say, everything you see in Excel, it's really nice functionality for data import, for data modeling. But everything we see here in Excel, we have better in Power BI. But let's try to do something quite simple. I will build a Power Pivot table. And remember, we are working with relational model. The two tables are linked together, and we're working with these millions, 3.4 million rows. So I put a sales amount, it works immediately. It's because of Power Pivot. And same, we have a Power BI, it means speed. We will have a speed here. But okay, it calculates some of 3.4 million rows. Maybe it's not so impressive, but let's do something else. We have a product. Okay, let's add for example, let's add a not store, but let's add a channel as a columns. Channel as a columns. Okay, it still requires some calculation. And if I choose sub-columns, sub-product name. So we see that it works really fast, especially if you experience some speed problems running Power Pivot tables in simple Excel. Try out Power Pivot, and it will work really fast. And what else we could do? We could build this, actually, for some interactivity, we could build the slicers. Like I click on currency name and say add a slicer. Actually, I have a slicer, like I could format it and change currency, or let's add like product name as a slicer. So I could choose between different products, and it will do a filtering me for these products. Or let's sorry, let's add for example date as a slicer, and I will insert under design, under analyze, I will insert timeline slicer, and it immediately may show what kind of data is actually formatted for using as a data slicer. And I added the data key, so I could select data for some months, or could switch it to days or quarters. So really, it looks like quite interactive, and it's like, yeah, it's good. It's actually shows us that this functionality is really great. But let's look at what we can do with Power BI. And yeah, one thing I just want to show you in Excel, that for data load, you use data, say get data from different sources, databases, files. And for example, you take Excel or CSV, that will be your most common data source. And you could import data. And it will Excel will show you what's data available, and before you load, it will show you where to load to Excel sheet or to Power Pivot. And that is how we could load the data. But let's skip it. Let's go to Power BI, and maybe just to show some short introduction for those who are like first time. If you want to get the data from Excel we've seen, you could you could import data from Excel by saying get data from Excel, or if you have a Power Pivot model in Excel, then you need to use this import function. And there you have a Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View functionality. And that is how you will import data. But we will now, from the Power Pivot model, but we will use an Excel now. And I have a simple data set. It actually will be, it's one of the data sets provided for demo purposes from Microsoft. So I will share this data set also with you. You could probably use it in your report. And I see all the sheets in this Excel and tables. I see the financials. Before I could just load it. So I don't know to choose between sheet or Power Pivot model. There is only one model. Before I'm loading data, I could do any kind of transformations, like do the filtering and many other functions. So it's maybe more advanced. So I could convert, add additional columns, filter out values, maybe if you talk about segments, I could just filter them out and decide how much I want to import into it. And I just say that I'm importing it. What I will have here, as you remember, the Power BI is more for visualization. So I still have all the functionality I could do with data. Like I can close it. I can see the columns for this one table. So I could, it supports, Power BI supports this relational models. I have one table here, but I could add additional tables. I can see the data I loaded, and I could create additional columns and additional measures, calculated measures. But most important, that how easy I could do the visualization. And you see here on the visualization tab, we have a lot of visuals. Actually, we have almost 200 plus visuals. So you could use these ones, or add from the store. But let's look at some interesting things. For example, I just drag and drop sales, so it works. The experience is different. Yeah, I choose different visuals. I could choose visuals. In this case, the card visual seems for me the best. I'll put it in the corner. Or for example, if I take a country out, it detects that it is geospatial data and it shows me country immediately. I say, let's use a sales as a size for this. Okay, I have this country as a sales as a dot here, and how interactive analysis works. If I click on the dot, it actually filters me this one value. But there is even easier way how to do that, because maybe we are not so familiar, we don't understand where to put this data. We could use this. Q&A function. I just click on Q&A. And it provides me functionalities that I could write something, and it will create this chart for me. And I say total sales, and it shows me the number. I say, okay, by date. And it shows me, okay, as a line. I say, okay, by date is fine. I need this as a column chart, and it shows me as a column chart. So I convert it into chart, and I have this nice chart created. And now I'm looking, so that is how I could create charts actually by just writing, and it will give some more opportunities to easier visualize data. It looks more logical. What else I have there? I see that there is increase in this sales amount in October, and I want to figure out how. Probably you will draw a lot of charts, but here I just click a right button and say analyze, explain, increase. And it will show me, it can't say actually why, and we will cover it in some of the next sessions, but it shows me all the possible correlations. It says it's because of these two products. I say, because we switched off discounts. Because Germany and France did it, these results. I say, yes, exactly, France and Germany. And I add here a chart here for, this is visual as this waterfall chart. So that is how I could work with a Power BI. And if you look at the 100,000 meter Power BI from the 1,000 meters, then we see that using a Power BI here, and we just look at the Power BI, we could use a Excel data as an input. We could even more, we do even more when we publish data on the service by creating dashboards, reports, applications. We could even directly publish Excel workbooks, convert them into data sets, and even use streaming data sets. And if we look at how Excel is used, is linked with Power BI, we could use the Excel data models, and mostly we prepare data in Excel. We can use them and import as a data source for Power BI desktop. We could publish them as a reports, as a workbooks, as a data sets, and we can analyze in Excel. It means we could open Power BI service data set for pivot tables in Excel. So just understand about timing.
Yes, you should wrap up all this.
Okay, so I think I covered like basic stuff, and I'm ready for some questions.
Yes, thank you, Aldis. And I believe that I can say on behalf of all the attendees that we really love your enthusiasm. While some of the parts might be too quick for us to remember or even write down, reminder that all of the presentations are being recorded and tomorrow will be shared to you. So if you want to brush up on your knowledge about all of the presentations, you can do it about one day later. Yes, we still have about 5 minutes, very short, very precise questions, and you can use the Q&A to ask questions. And the first question is from my side. You mentioned that your record is 200 million entries. So rows, so multiplied by the number of data it has. What types of computer do you need to have in order to run 200 million entries? Do you need like a 6-core, 12 CPU computer, or can you do it on a small laptop as well?
You can do it on small laptop. It's better to have 8 gigabytes of RAM, but to work with some 40-50 million rows in Power BI or in Excel, you could do it on your regular desktop. So you don't need a special computer for that.
Okay, that is great news, because maybe not everybody has extremely fast computers.
Yeah, and one remark about Power BI. Power BI is more stable and faster working with larger data sets than Excel. So if you want to analyze or use these large data sets, then I suggest to do it in Power BI. So one more thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, maybe it was too quick, but we will adjust the tempo. So don't worry. This is my first session in this program, so we will adjust it. One thing that to understand and to remember that in Excel, we had this large data set, 3.4 million, this one table, 3.4 million rows. And usually we have a question how to extract it, or if we add some additional columns in this data set, how to get it in CSV file, for example, to import into the Power BI, or even if you create some tables and do some modeling in Power BI, how to extract them into CSV, because actually you can't copy the more than 30,000 rows from Power BI table, and you can't copy more than 1 million rows from the Excel table. And there is one hint you could write down, that there is a tool called DAX Studio. It's a free tool, so you will find on the web page of one of the great contributors to Power BI. And the DAX Studio actually allow you to connect to Power BI data source as a data source, and then here you could use the special command evaluate, and for example, the table financials. And here is a function where it returns the whole table with all the records. It could be many millions. And then on the output, you choose file. And then you choose the file, you could run it, and it will save you, this output will save you the CSV file with all the data set. That is the way how to get the large tables out of Power BI if you need.
Reading some of the questions, when you ask question, you also check if it's published, and most of the published questions they are answered by the technical team, not only by the speaker. But now let's say thanks to Aldis, and we will see each other again in 3 hours, approximately 3 hours today. So we will be waiting for your next presentation. And if in the meantime you do have a question that you want to ask to Aldis, use the opportunity and ask in Aldis later sessions throughout the bootcamp.